I'm on now.
There
So
we go.
you can you can switch me. Okay, then now I'm on.
Jeez.
Perfect. Technical difficulties on Omar end. He's still learning, you guys.
Oh. We're gonna blame that on me? You
I
you look
think I
like you
guess
calling
I
me from
think
a Samsung. What are you talking about?
no, I think that is the internet.
Oh, okay. Introduce yourself, bro.
This is your boy, Mr. Right Choice, back at it again. Another Wednesday. Give you the latest and greatest is going on here in Central Florida. So, hope you guys can see me pretty well. But let's get right into it.
So today I wanted to get into a couple different headlines that have come in with the last week. Um, First of all, if you're joining us from all over the place, please check in. Let me know where you're from. Let me know where you're watching from. Please leave us a comment. Share this with people that you know will love this information. We want to go over three different topics today. The first topic, we're going to go over how Disney and Universal are tackling this um, housing shortage. If you think that you're having a problem finding a house to buy, imagine how they are for their workers. We're going to talk about how they're combating that. Then we're going to talk about uh, Mr. Right Choice, one of his favorite things. We're going to talk about the new NIL rules and how that's going to affect you and your teenager, or if you're a teenager, how it's going to affect you moving to the future. So we're going to talk about that. And then the third, but not least, we're going to cover HOAs. There's some HOA news coming out of South Florida that might affect you. You'd be surprised. So without further ado, let's get right into it.
No, sir. And go single real quick too. Go single real quick. So I'm gonna hang up and call right back. I don't know why I look so bad.
You're good now. You're good.
All right.
All right. So here's the region. Check this out, guys. So the region's largest employer, that which include both Disney and Universal, are having issues supplying homes for their workers. So um,
Hmm.
they're so what's happening is
What do you mean by that?
a lot of the big time employers, Disney, Disney and Universal are just some of the biggest employers we have in Central Florida. I mean, by the obvious, our number one economic
Yeah,
driver is
correct.
tourism. So
Correct.
I didn't know this, but right now, Disney is teaming up with a developer, the micro organization, to deliver 1,410 unit apartments in the village of West Orange County, with 1,000 units set aside for people earning 80% or less of the median income. I say that again.
That's
They're setting aside, out of the 1,400 units, they're going to set aside 1,000 units for people making 80% of the median income. Meanwhile,
that's basically the
Universal is,
whole complex.
yeah, I mean, 75% of it. And Universal is teaming up with Westover Housing Partners, and they're going to 1,000 mixed-use affordable housing projects and retail and health space and tuition-free Bezos Academy preschool. So these are things that, and this is like this is what it looks like here. But they're trying to, in other words, they're trying to bring in more uh, units for affordable housing. Why? Because turns out the median pay for a service worker, I didn't know this, was 14.21 an hour.
I did.
So I figure you did. So meanwhile, the average rent for in Metro Orlando is $1,770 per month. That means if you are a service worker and you're trying to rent an apartment, 78% of your income would need to go towards your rent. Is that even possible?
Man, this is a good thing that they're making these affordable homes, but on the flip side, it's kind of horrible because you see that the issue that I've talked about before, they don't pay here in Orlando, and it's evidence that they don't pay here in Orlando because you're making a whole complex. You might as well say the whole complex is for affordable homes for people they hire to work for them. Let's listen. Let's say that again. You make a whole community, not for the community, but for your community to continue to pay them less to put them in something shiny, that pay less to work for you and don't even try to attempt to pay them more. So you put their mindset as in, oh, 14 dollars an hour is good. I can stay in these low base income. I want to be okay forever. Look what that why don't you just pay? I know I know it's good, you guys, to help our people, but it's just the mindset behind this and the things that Disney and Universal are doing. I know they make enough money to pay more money for the employees. There's the number one economic driver here in Central Florida, Disney and Universal, packed all the time, 365 days a year. You're telling me that you guys can't afford to pay 20, 21, $22 an hour. And the kids that I do know, they all say the same thing. They said, this is what's crazy, you guys. The kids told me they would rather work for 14 or $13 an hour instead of $18 an hour or $19 an hour. You know why? Because they said they get more hours when they work for $14 an hour. Because when it's $19 an hour, they say they only work like 5 hours or
Mm.
6 or 7 hours. They cut their hours when they find that pretty job. Oh, I'm making $19 an hour, but you get no hours. So you trick the kids as in $14 an hour, they get the hours, they get the hours, but it's not a lot of money. But they can afford it though. I can understand some companies can't afford it because years ago they made it that all these companies have to offer insurance. And I understand insurance is high and they're paying that premium. So they can't really afford to pay people hourly. But Disney and Universal, dang sure they can. What your thoughts on that?
So, I'm not going to argue how much they should pay their workers. To me, the market's going to dictate what the market's going to dictate. Hey, this is what I do know, Mr. Right Choice. They, on average, both of them have over 100. There's over 100,000 employees between those two and all the ancillaries around them that do a daily commute into the area. So that explains a lot of the congestion that you're having on I-4, a lot of the
A
congestions
lot.
that you're having around the toll roads, and it's explaining that when I see this number, you just cracked on to something real quick. That's the median. So that means a lot more people are making less than 14.21 an hour. And then on top of that, this is 78%. If you crack that in half, say there's two people living in an apartment like this, that's still almost 40% of your income that's going to go towards your rent, which is not an easy penny. And I don't know if this calculation is even this calculation is probably pre-tax. If I were to guess it, I didn't do the math on that.
Look, 9 times out of 10, people only work 40 hours probably
They don't
38,
work. They don't work 40 hours a
37.
week.
Probably not. Might most of them people are kids,
2270.
or
Divided by 2273. I mean, yeah. So, bro, they did this calculation. They did that rudimentary calculation. They did it based on without taxes, by the way. So if you tack on tax onto this,
you don't make enough on rent.
you can't afford a car. You can't afford groceries. So that is the issue that we're facing. I'm not here advocating. I'm a real estate guy, so I'm not into politics, and this is the importance of why you go out there and vote. But this is showing that the average worker just can't afford. They can't afford rent, let alone working with us affording a house. That's what I read when I see something like this.
Yeah, 100% correct. And the two, not to bash Disney or Universal. This is everywhere. This going on everywhere. All the reason I said them two because they should be able to afford to pay more money. But this is going the pay is like that everywhere. But it's good that they're making affordable housing. At least people can stay in better areas and nicer apartments though at a fraction of the price now. So that is a good thing.
What I liked about this article was that it stated that you know they actually donated. Universal donated 20 acres to it, so you know they wouldn't be able to do this project if the land wasn't free. So
Mm,
Universal donated 20 acres, and then Disney donated 114 acres. So both
tax
of
write
them.
off.
So they had to donate almost 140 acres to make this project happen. But here's the bigger problem. You nailed it on the head by saying that this is not only a Universal and Disney issue. all around the country they've been experiencing this issue. So the big corporations in every city, mostly tech, have been doing the same thing. So Microsoft investing 750 million for the creation and preservation of more than 6,000 affordable units out in Seattle. Now, you and I both know, is Seattle a cheap market or an expensive market?
You said Orlando?
Is
I had a beep.
Seattle is Seattle a cheap
Seattle? Oh, Seattle expensive.
expensive market? Correct. Apple pledges 2.5 billion fighting for the crisis in California. Meta is going to give out 1,730 apartments. You got JBS Meatpackers that's donating. That's going to do 36 building units, and Cook Medical in rural Indiana are building hundreds of homes to sell to employees. So there's a
Yeah,
bunch of you're seeing a bunch of corporations that are stepping up that are trying to alleviate the housing, which is one of the biggest expenses on their employees.
yeah. One quick Linux. I just now seen it. Yeah, Linux. He said it seems like they're circulating the employee's income right back into the business. Correct. They trying to. You're correct on that, Linux. That's all they're doing.
Seems like they're circulating employee income right back into that.
Yeah. It's not,
Oh my goodness gracious. Woo! So y'all acting like you guys are acting like these corporations are bad. Listen,
nah.
if it wasn't for companies like this, you wouldn't be, Florida doesn't pay income tax, and our
Man, you
real estate
got
taxes
bro.
are relatively low.
Bump that. Our we got tolls. My tolls is $3,000 or something. That's just for my car.
You pay three thousand
For
dollars in tolls a year.
when I just did it with close to 2 years, and my wife got tolls, so it's probably like $4,000,
I don't want to hear
five
that.
thousand dollars.
You just telling that to the IRS so you can get it right off. Don't want you lying.
No, I'm 100%. I'm not even lying. That is correct. But let's what else we got besides the low income housing? That is good though. I know they've been talking about this for a while, and I know they got a whole lot of land, so that is good for them. It's going to circulate back into the business, but at least they get to stay somewhere a good spot, and it's going to be close to their jobs too as well.
Listen. I like. Why did I trigger you some? I see you just got triggered with that particular. You're triggered
Who?
because you're saying you believe that is what we all talk about. Orlando don't pay. Is that what you're saying?
No, they don't pay. But it's all about the
Mm.
mindset. It's two things behind that. If I want to go really deep into it, so if I go deep real quick, yes, Orlando don't pay.
We're not
Yes,
here
they
for no
don't.
surface
But
level stuff, man. We're talking about. We're here to talk the realness. We talk real about
no,
what's going on there.
no, so, no. But I'm gonna just be honest with you. Just be honest, you guys. So yes, Orlando don't pay. Yes, but if you change your mindset, you can put yourself in a situation to make the money you want to make to take care of your family at the end of the day. So there are avenues that you can get in or the Central Florida area, Orlando area, so you can take care of your family. Yes, they don't pay, but there are avenues that you can put yourself in that you can afford to live where you want to live, move where you want to move. It's just all about your mindset and your goals and what you're trying to do for you, yourself, and your family. So that's all I have to say about that. I just think it's an independent thing. They can change. You can change that.
You trying to clean it up. I don't want to hear you clean it up. I want to hear you see.
I'm
You don't
being
want to give the
honest.
realness out here.
That is the realness. To be honest, it don't pay. You just got to work harder. That's all.
Listen, I think I'm gonna put a bow tie on this, but it's no. I mean, eventually we're gonna cover what incomes are, what kind of jobs that we're seeing that are actually buying property here in Central Florida. But the big majority of people who work here are working in those kind of in the hospitality or tourism industry. So this affects a large swath of the Orlando population. So that's why we brought that up. If you're triggered, I want to see that in the comments. I want to see what's going on with that. But let's go to the next topic. So the next topic should be near and dear to your heart, Mr. Right Choice.
So what we got up next? Okay,
Florida
so
becomes
all
the
right.
latest state to allow. Oh, why did you do that to me? Why did you do that to me, AP? How dare you? They always trying to get their advertisement. Hey, this is what happens when you don't pay. So While I get that up, give me 1 second. There we go. All right. So Florida becomes the latest state to allow high school athletes to profit from NIL deals.
Yeah,
What?
this has been talk of the whole. This has been talk of the social media, starting yesterday and also today. We just just did a podcast earlier talking about this and discussing this. But I could talk about this for real estate purposes besides so sportsy wise.
Yeah,
So
let me get this off the ground real quick. So, Florida High School Association, Athletic Association, unanimously approved the measure Tuesday that allows students to earn more money through NIL without putting their athletic eligibility at risk. The changes go into effect for the 2024-2025 season, with administrators hoping they won't create recruiting issues or competitive imbalances. They're hoping. I like when they say stuff like that. Um, what is it saying? Provisions Provision prohibits athletes from earning money off NIL deal while using their school's uniforms, logos, equipment, and similar intellectual or physical properties. They also forbid schools from using NILs to entice students to attend their institution and prohibit students from securing NIL deals after an in-season transfer without a cause exemption from the relevant and school district. So, I'm bringing this up because as you and I both know, school districts are a huge, they're a big thing here in Florida. So tell me your take. Give me your take on what, because you got your nose to the ground, your ear to the ground, so to speak, when it
no.
comes to what are you hearing about this?
So for one, it looking like right now that you can't. It's going to help out for transfer in schools. That's one thing. A lot of kids transfer to schools a whole lot. Is it a good? I, I'm a. I'm again. I'm not a huge fan of it, to be honest. Just to say that. I just think it's
Whoa.
on. It's on. I don't know. Not high school wise, college wise, yes, but high school is just crazy. It don't even make sense because there's athletes don't make. How does an athlete make a school money? It don't make sense. And then two, how is the athlete gonna make more money than a coach? The coach is already underpaid here in Florida in general, so them things don't make no sense. But on a real estate side, I'm not gonna talk so much sports on here because it's
No,
not.
no, no. You
This is
talk
this
sports. I want
platform.
to. Some of the people want to hear the
No, so,
sports
so
take, man.
so I will say we're the 36th state now that's been approved for NIL deals.
Yep.
Now, just to be honest with you guys, everybody's talking about it, but everybody kid ain't elite either. Just to be honest with you, just straight up. If you're so for instance, two kids got NIL deals 2 hours after they got passed yesterday, and they got deals with
Interesting.
American Eagle brands. That's a big company, but they're 5-star athletes, you guys. 5-star athletes, not a 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, 4-star. They're 5-star athletes. They got a deal pretty quick. So what I heard was Georgia Ben had this. They said only like 4% or 3% even high school kids even got NIL deals in Georgia. That's a low percent. That's a low percentage in Georgia that has already had that already created this. They already got approved. They was already approved for this already. So on a real estate side, let's say if it goes in a positive way, if this goes in a positive way and you start seeing we're breeding more 4 or 5-star athletes and they're getting more NIL deals and the companies are seeing an ROI. Now it comes to the situation as in you may see more parents really want to move to Florida because of the academic aspect and money aspect in Florida for their kids. So now you have another talk about moving to Florida, not because of taxes, not because of the Sunshine State, not because of the beaches. It's going to be about really, kids making money here in Florida. How would you feel? You're in, say, Tennessee. Your kid's great, balling, but you see all these kids in Florida balling. You think they're better now, and they're making money, getting deals from places you think your kid can get. Now put you in your mindset as in, dang, I may want to move to Florida. It may be an opportunity for my kids. People doing it now without NIL. Without NIL, I see it in the youth world a lot in high school. I know people personally that has
Well,
moved from New York and New Jersey, moved down here for sports for the kids.
Let,
without even getting paid.
let me address that a little bit because several episodes back, hopefully I'll put it here. I have James put it up here. But several episodes back, we tackled different communities that are sports centric, right? We tackled different
Hmm.
areas that are really tailored towards, there's full counties that are investing tons of money into sports tourism and sports in general. So we bringing this up on a real estate front because I don't know, just to let everybody know, NIL stands for name, image, and likeness. So right
Correct.
now, a high school student or a college student cannot be paid directly from the school over to the athlete. But the athletes now can make money on their face. They can make money on their branding, and their branding is made through basically social media. They go on Instagram, they create a huge Instagram following, a huge YouTube following, or wherever they're seen. They create a cult following, and then advertisers are able to advertise on there and capitalize on who they are. This is how they're going to start paying high school athletes. They're paying high school athletes because, I mean, they are a coveted demographic. And if you're talking about if our average price point of home is going up, that means the average income for people moving into Florida, I mean, that's going to be a different stat, is going up as well. That is becoming a huge money maker for brands that want to target youth. American Eagle is a prime example of that. I mean, where the youth goes, so goes the culture. That's an old school saying. So this is
And
heading
so,
it right at the beginning.
and so, and this, let's be honest to you guys. I know people talking about NIL is spending so much money. To be honest with you guys, as a business, it's cheaper to spend money on influencers than doing regular advertisement. A TV commercial is expensive. Magazine ads expensive. Billboards is expensive. Radio play is expensive. Traditional newsletter mailers is expensive. All of
Very.
them are truly expensive if you're trying to do nationally. I'm talking about nationally. Nationally, some people can't even afford even a little bit of it. It's too expensive. But guess what? You can get a kid and give him, I'm saying, $1,000 to do something, and you hit them nationally. Hundreds of thousands of views you nationally compared to spending hundreds of $1,000s to do a national TV ad that everybody in the world can see. So when you put that in perspective and people say, how do they spend all this money? It's cheaper. And then you could target it. You could target the kid or who you want to influence. So for instance, excuse me, American Eagle. American Eagle target two minority kids to wear their clothes to target that demographic of people. That is smart. You're going to see a whole bunch of clothing brands do that. And also for real
Nike,
estate.
Under Armour. And that's a perfect example. I wanted you to bring out what NIL means because you're the NIL guy. What does that mean coming into the NIL deals in real estate?
Really good. You could do a couple of things with that for let's think about a realtor or company. You have to be creative because these are high school kids. You figure out how to do it. What can be a ROI? But now you can help pay kids that has a big following, or as a good kid. Everybody loves a great kid. Got good grades, doing good stuff in the community and good in sports. You can utilize them to advertise, do open house or something. They have a big following to draw people to come check their house out or whatnot. So for real estate wise, it definitely can. The crazy thing about that, I haven't seen no real estate agents took advantage of college athletes. So I don't know why I'm talking about high school. We're right in UCF. I haven't seen nobody take advantage of doing an NIL deal with a college athlete they can help out to even what we're doing. Like I say, what we're doing, we're talking about, like say Evermore or Oviedo or Disney. We haven't utilized that. They got a bigger following than us. We could have did an ad and be like, hey man, talk about this Disney, talk about what we're doing on our show so more people can tune in. So this is just a little bit of things that I'm talking about NIL that you can take advantage of. And I think for real estate wise, I think it down the road is going to be beneficial. Because for college wise, NIL, depending on how much money they make, they can invest into real estate. They can invest in real estate easily. I wouldn't say so much to high school, and the reason I say that because they should be saving that money because college might not be guaranteed for them to go to college on a full ride. God forbid they break their leg or tear their knee up, and all the money they made, they should be put in the bank so they can utilize that to pay for their college.
So
So that
so right now, what I hear you saying is for these high school athletes, you're saying that a local mom and pop are the ones that are going to be advertising with these local high school athletes. Is that what you're saying? That's
no,
the
I would
money.
say the mom and pops are going to be actually structuring the deal for their kid in high school.
How about local businesses that want to advertise with a high school kid?
I think that will work. A local business, I think local business should definitely be doing high school kids now. I think it's beneficial on both ends, especially if they get the right kid. I think it'd be cool. They just got to do something, a dope video, something nice, something cool, just like a Raising Cane's. You guys go look at Raising Cane's. Raising Cane's does an excellent job with doing. They do ads all the time with college athletes, like left and right.
Really?
Yes, like for like cell phone footage and stuff all the time. Raising Cane's do it. A couple other fast food spots they do it too. But I think local, like we're local business. You know, we're entrepreneurs. We're realtors. We got real estate. We're realtors. We're a local business here. Technically, we can be reaching out to high school kids too. It's basically just giving back in the community. You know, putting money in their pocket or whatever, so they can invest and save money. But I think it's a good thing, you guys. It's Florida. Uh,
Is it?
Orlando's number one for athletics too.
Is it?
Remember we talked about a couple of weeks ago. For all the camps and stuff we got going on, Orlando's like number one for sports and
Where
recreation.
where does Florida lie as far as the amount of recruits when you talk about recruiting on for like let's say basketball, football, baseball,
I have no
volleyball?
idea. That's a tough. That's a tough question. That I have no idea. I have to ask one of my guys for. I know we do put out a lot of. I know we put out a lot of kids in Power Five D1 schools, but I don't know the ranking of where we at. But I do know a lot of kids go to college here from athletics, from basketball to football to basically all the sports. We definitely get known here.
I
So
mean,
I don't know where we at rank
anytime I
wise.
see a college football game and I see where they're from, I see Tampa, Orlando, South Florida. It says all the different cities, Miami. You know, you
Hmm.
also always see. I always see like some of the top, all the top players in college that all come from Florida, Texas, or what's the other one?
You know,
California.
Alabama was like that. Alabama.
Alabama.
So when I was at, I went to Alabama, you guys. But a lot of Alabama, if you look at their roster, I have to look now, but previously, a lot of kids from Florida.
Mm.
A lot. A lot of ones that's in the pros that's right now from Alabama. Majority of them from Florida. A lot of them are.
So this whole segment, this is for people who are thinking about moving their kids into a better school district. This is going to affect you for exposure for your child. If you're thinking about even if you don't have a kid athletic, if you're a business owner, which a lot of business owners follow me and we're in contact every day. If you're a business owner and you're trying to advertise, this opens up an avenue for local advertisement, like Mr. Wright Choice was saying. I mean, I see nothing but cool things that come out of this. Now, as far as what it does for competition, I don't know. That's more your lane. I'm not up on the high school football
Oh, I
competition.
don't know, but I don't that, bro. I don't know. It's gonna be. I don't know. It's gonna be. I don't know. It's gonna be crazy, man. It
What's the
depends on
number
the
one school in
mindset.
Florida? You know?
It's probably down south or like I don't know. I think like Shamaha probably like
I know
IMG.
my guy
St.
Joseph. He used to coach. He definitely he's like, yo, why don't you say my school? My bad. Sorry, Joseph. My bad. I'm not up on
Miami
this.
probably it's in Miami. I would say definitely some private schools.
That is a perfect segue. So we're done with that topic. Let's get into our last and final topic. Speaking of Miami, South Florida, there's in our real estate contract, a lot of it has to do provisions on what happens in South Florida. When it comes to like title fraud, when it comes to different types of fraud that is happening in and around the state, we're always looking at Miami. They're the first ones. So as things are usually come out of Miami first and then they spread out throughout the rest of the state. So I like to keep my eye on the kind of things that are happening. In this particular story, resonated with me because we all, I mean, I live in an HOA community. You live in an HOA community as well, right?
Yep.
And for the most part, I'm a fan of HOA. I'm going to say that right now. I am a fan of HOAs. HOAs can do more good than bad, depending on what you want. But in my opinion, yeah, if the community is accountable, they can keep the streets clean, they can keep the property values up. As a real estate professional, I absolutely love to see properties that are put together. But here you go. A recipe for fraud. An alleged scam rocked to South Florida's biggest HOA. Ex-board members accused of siphoning $2 million from the association, revealing holes in the state regulation. I mean, this thing
That's
made
crazy.
national headlines. So basically, the Hammocks Community Association claimed that the couple owned thousands of dollars in arrears in assessment, and their house wasn't up to standard. The driveways were wrong color. The trees needed pruning. The hurricane shutters weren't up to code. Said one letter. It was $1,000 for this, another $1,000 for that. So the couple tried to disprove the violations before the homeowners association sent them to a statement claiming that they owed them $4,300. Then they threatened to foreclose on them. They paid, sold their property, and moved. So check this out. HOA came after them and said, hey, you need to change this, you need to change that. You owe us $4,300. They're like, you know what? We don't want to be here no more. We out of here. Authorities started poking into it around 2017. Where am I at? Boop, boop, boop. Sorry, guys. Yeah, so residents of the hammocks, they started poking into, so the authorities started looking into the hammocks back in 2017. It would take another 5 years until the hammocks leadership collapsed. And in November, police arrested 4 of its ex-board members, a husband of the former president, and alleged looted for $2 million of the association. So they had their family in the association. They were giving out contracts here, there, all being unaccounted for. I mean, I had a video, but unfortunately, I can't show the video on here. But it showed that the cops had to be called during the board meeting because the residents wanted to have their necks. They took so much money from them. There wasn't accounted for. They say funds were siphoned from the HOA coffers and through 5 companies, 2 which were led by the husband, which is Jose Antonio Gonzalez,
$1 million.
who was also charged. The companies alleged posed as service providers and vendors. So let's talk about this real quick. When you get an HOA, when you're in an HOA, people just, I always said this. People always think that their president is affects their life the most. I always say your HOA president affects your life the most, and you don't even know it. In the HOA, they cover common areas, they cover maintenance, they cover gates, and if it's gates, they're going to cover the streets, street lights, ponds, pools, playgrounds, trails if they have trails, and you name it. Some of these HOAs have resort style pools. Some of these HOA have gyms. Some of these HOAs have coffee shops, and then you can get into the country club. You can go all the way down the line depending on which HOA you belong to. But the HOA business is a wild, wild west. Every single HOA is different. And this goes to show you if you're not paying attention to what's happening in HOA, they could be robbing you. I guarantee you look at your HOA statement right now, you're gonna see a $50,000 charge. Like, go look at the landscaping charge. Go look at the administrative charges. Go look at how much they pay in postage. And then you get mad when you get assessed and you owe 20. Like, here's something that happened with our HOA. They went up and we had to catch them like red-handed with it because they went up on us. In our HOA, there's a gated side and there's a non-gated side. And on the non-gated side, because non-gated communities is significantly less, right?
Correct.
If I'm non-gated, why am I paying for a camera system? Why am I paying for a gate? Why am I paying for the operator to allow access? Why am I paying for all the maintenance charges around it? But they wanted to put those charges for people who are not in the gated community side, bro. So the non-gated community side went up like 40%, while the gated community side only went up like 5%. And if they weren't called out on social media, they would have gotten away with that. Think about that.
Mm-mm. Nigga, I'm still
What are
tripping
your
about the
thoughts?
1 million.
What are your thoughts on this?
I know my HOA went up, so it went up. I think ours went up like I don't know. It went up. I can't remember what it went up, but it went up though, and everybody's been complaining about it, talking about basically because our communities just got finished last year, and they didn't put enough money in the reserves or whatnot, so they made everybody pay. We had to pay more money basically to catch up because they didn't allot enough money in the pool when we can once the whole community is all finished. So a whole year later now, everything's catching up. But I'm with him too. I prefer to stay in a HOA community. I know people complain about it all the time, but being a real estate agent, seeing the communities that does not have HOA, or a lot of older communities, a lot of older communities do have HOA, but it's not strict HOA. It's just HOA just to have HOA.
Like a
And
code
the communities,
enforcement style.
the grass is not cut. You see people cars on the side of the road. You see people cars in the grass. I hate people parking in the grass. People paint the color of the house odd colors. They don't take care of that. They don't take care of it. And then for me, living in Alabama in my parents' neighborhood, I really agree to having one because my parents' neighborhood equity is not where it needs to be. We stay in a nice neighborhood, but through the years, because it was a military town. My dad was military, retired, and what happened was they moved our
Salute.
base. So all the military people started moving away. So what happened was, since it was an HOA, people stopped taking care of their home and start doing painting the color of the house, putting carports. You're not allowed to put carports. They start doing odd things. And so what happened was, when people don't take care of their house and don't maintain it, it reduces the value of your home, the whole community. So what happened was, my parents' house is nice, but it doesn't reflect how much it should be worth because everybody else don't take care of their home. But if there was an HOA community, everybody would have their grass cut. Or if their grass is dead, what happens if their grass is dead? What's the HOA gonna say?
You're gonna find them.
Omar,
They're gonna have you replace the
find them,
grass.
if replace it. People get mad, but it makes see you don't keep on driving around the neighborhood. You see dead grass. Like in my neighborhood, we got palm trees in our house. Um, if your palm tree is like when we moved in our house, our palm tree was dying. So they told me that I had to buy a new tree. I say about a new tree. They just planted a tree. It was dead, but the guy told me what to do. It came back. I'm saying that because you don't want to be going around in your neighborhood and you see dead stuff in your neighborhood and you spend all this money on your home. You don't want to see that. Now there are some areas that have crazy HOAs that's super super strict. Yes, you probably want to find out if that's a really area you want to live in, or if you want to have basketball goals and all the other stuff, you need to be cautious of what area you want to live in because every community does not allow you to have basketball goals in like in the driveway or stuff like that. Like in my neighborhood now, they don't allow us to park on the side of the road, which do sucks. But I can see the pros and cons of that. I do hate going to neighborhoods that the street is not that big, but you got everybody car parked on each side. So now you only have this little strip that you park through. So I do understand it why they enforce it, but I also understand that it is very inconvenient sometimes when you have guests or you have people come over, you want them to park on the side of the road. So there is pros and cons that I see in HOA, but this particular situation do suck. It sounds like a title company that they get all this money and they don't allocate the money like they're supposed to. They're dipping their hands into the escrow pot where all everybody escrow goes in and take the money, and you're supposed to be closing on something and all the money's gone. It
So
sound
basically what they did was they had a bunch of family members that were on the board. And every like I told you, the HOA is a wild wild west. HOA is put together by something called articles of incorporation. They have articles just like a company, and it states exactly how it's ran, and it's supposed to be ran like a business. So you could some have the management company that have a ton of power, and some have it where their boards have a ton of power. Some have it where where their management company does the majority of the work for them, or some say, "Hey, no, hey, we just need our management company to handle the contracts. We need our management company to update us and to do some of the manual labor, like write some of our letters and stuff because we don't want to pay an attorney's office. So they'll have management, while others will have it where they'll have somebody on the board do it. So what it looks like here is that they had the association funds and they wrote all these checks to all these like excellent service LLC work. So this looks like some type of work that happened to the along the premises. So SEMA Solutions, Nikita Trade Equipment, so the HOA, our HOA here pays money to have people put up lights during Christmas. Some HOAs
Oh.
pay money to have flags done through Memorial Day or 4th of July or you name it. Some
Mm-hmm.
HOAs spend money on having parties for any different type once a quarter. Some HOAs spend money on garage sales and the signage for the garage sale and what goes on with that. And all that is ran through the board. So, Linux, to answer your question, we're talking about the actual
The
HOA
board.
board. Yeah, we're talking about issues with the actual HOA board. That's not even getting into potential issues that could be with their management company. That's a
Yeah.
whole separate issue.
Yeah. Yeah, we got that issue. Yeah, we had to switch our management company. That is a whole different issue.
Correct, because management companies, I mean, that's a business, right? So
You get
they'll put
voted that.
somebody in charge, and if say something that happens to that person could be out. Nobody's running your community. Who's paying all your bills? Who's you know
Mm-hmm.
I bring this article up just to give you guys a heads up on some of the issues that are happening. If it's happening in South Florida, best believe it is happening here in Central Florida. We just don't know it yet. Here's the thing. HOAs have a lot of good things about them. If your HOA is strict and doesn't allow cars in the streets, your property values go up. Boom. I'm gonna tell you right now. Some HOAs require you to have, on top of lawn care, you have to have lawn services. You get what I'm saying? So in other words, you gotta pay to make sure your grass is green because neighbors don't want to see brown grass. So you got to pay an additional company to sit here and fertilize it, and you got to provide them with the information. Some HOAs do it for you to alleviate that because they don't want you to have brown grass. He said, "Oh wow, I'm glad they caught that." Let me tell you right now, it's not being caught everywhere. There's HOAs right now that are in serious issues. Okay. So you live in a gated community, right? And your roads are, I don't know, how old are they? Say you live in a community that's back from the early 2000s, mid 2000s. How do you think those roads are inside right now? They probably right about now they need a coat of asphalt. The Florida heat, the rain, all these hurricanes that have been coming through have probably been beating it up. And then go check your reserves right now. To do one little slab part costs $180,000, and you probably only have $50,000 in reserve. How are you going to go ahead and re-asphalt your gated community? Insurance. Insurance is currently going up everywhere to include in your HOA. How are you making sure that your HOA is covered? If you are part of an HOA right now, it is your duty. I'm telling you, it is your duty to stay up to date, get involved. I don't want to hear that. I don't like hearing from people that they don't know what's going on within their HOA. That's to me that's a little bit irresponsible. You need to, and I'm not sitting here to be preachy, but I make sure that when every time I work with buyers, I'm like, hey, get involved, do this part. Because at the end of the day, what does that mean to you? Hey, who cares? I don't want to care about that. When you're getting one, two, three, four, $500,000 in equity because of how your community is holding up, you're going to be thanking your HOA for that. I promise you that.
100% correct.
I think we beat that dead horse.
100% correct.
We talked about today. We talked about some really cool things. This is some really adulting conversation. Uh, I have next time I invite friends of mine that they're our president, HOA presidents. A lot of HOA president, by the way, if you have a big HOA, a lot of times those HOA presidents they end up running for office. They end up running to be your mayor. They end up running to be your councilman or your commissioners. You just don't know it yet. So
That shit,
so
that joint crazy.
hey, way to fix that. I want to make sure I monetize. I want to make sure we ain't cussing on this.
I ain't tried to. That joint just slipped out,
All right, so
and it's your
today we
fault.
covered three different things. We covered what Universal and Disney is doing to tackle this affordable housing. Do you think it's enough? Do you think they're doing enough to make sure that they can, the 100,000 employees that they're going between the two places are, adequately covered? How about you? Are they helping you with that? The second topic we covered was the NIL deals. We covered what that means to residents in Central Florida and, ways that you can take advantage of that and what that means for schools moving forward. And at last, we covered HOA corruption that's happening in South Florida that you may want to look at that's happening here locally. This is keeping the news that you need first in mind. Mr. Right Choice, you got anything to say before we head out?
No, good episode. I like how we mixed it up to bring awareness on everything that's going on. That's kind of crazy. We supposed to be talking about schools this Wednesday, but a lot of new stuff been coming up. There was more stuff I had on my notes, man. There's so much stuff going on in North Central Florida. It's crazy. I swear, every single day something I get new that pops up. I'm like, man. Like next week we're gonna talk about. You don't know what cookout. There's a cookout is coming to Orlando area, so we'll talk about that. If y'all even know what cookout is,
Okay, I don't even know what that is. I'm excited to learn
do you
about
know
it
that?
though. Nope.
Yeah, look, yeah,
I
cookout.
can't wait to research it
It's a
and for you to tell me.
yeah, yeah, man.
So,
So I saw that
so
some other things too as well. So
some of these articles were
yeah,
given to us by actual fans of the show and people who watch it on the regular and give me notes and email me. I appreciate everyone who DMs me. I appreciate everyone who sends me an email, sends me a text, that calls me and say, hey, maybe you should cover. That article came from somebody who said, hey, maybe you should cover this. And I said, you're absolutely right. I will cover that. So at the end of the day, Mr. Right Choice, Tremaine Wright, and myself, Omar Cotto, we are both real estate professionals. This is what we do. We hope to actually help you or help any of your friends or your family, help you in any way, shape, or form when it comes to moving in and around the city of Orlando and all the surrounding counties. That's what we do. So we appreciate the business and we appreciate, and if you have any feedback on what we're given, the content that we're given, continue DMing me, continue sending me emails. I respond back to every single one of them. But other than that, I want to thank you guys again for joining us today. And I look forward to the next episode. Peace.
peace.